Hello, everyone. This is Cassandra Williamson. I am coming to you from on top of a mountain in Williamson, West Virginia. Okay, so this is the old Mingo County Airport. It's run down, it's dilapidated. Nobody uses it for anything that I know of. Somebody's cutting the grass, though. But yeah, so it's closed off on one end. All the way down there, you can see they've got a fence that goes diagonally across the road. And then the terminal building and the control area is all just dilapidated and destroyed, and it's just no good. I mean, I don't know why they're not taking care of this airport up here. I spent a lot of time up here at this airport growing up. Dad actually built some part of the bridge, built the bridge. It spans across the section all the way down towards the end down there. Back in when, I don't know, 80s, early 80s, maybe 70s, something like that. But yeah, let me see what's floating around down in here. Something fell out. And what did I lose? I lost an earring somewhere. And I found gun shells up here. Holy cow. There are some gun shells on this place up here. Look at this. Yeah, look, we got some shells. People up here just shooting guns. A whole bunch of them all over the place right through here. Like a shootout occurred. Somebody's having fun with guns, I guess. I gotta find what happened to my earrings too. Anyway, so one of the big announcements I was letting everybody know about was that I've created another, it's a nonprofit, not a nonprofit, shit. A limited liability corporation in the state of Kentucky. And it's called Janus Forge Accelerators. And it is primarily for establishing interactions between various AI systems. And you would think that they would have the same kind of content and all that, but they don't really. People who create this content may be the same, but the way they understand it, the way they interpret that content is different, which gives us a tremendous of taking these things that each have great access to all kinds of information out there and use them to improve upon new technologies, solving some of humanity's intractable problems like food insecurity in Kansas or Missouri or here in Appalachia, or finding ways to create sustainable food sources for people in Gaza, or building habitats on the moon do provide what people would need to live there, and not just mechanically, not just, you know, brute force kind of solutions, but to make it something that could be worth retiring to, let's say. But anything like that, there's all kinds of solutions that we need to address, all kinds of problems that we need to have. And these AI platforms are the way to do it. And we have to use the tools that we have in front of us. And I noticed one thing today, that there was a conversation I was having over on X on the app. And then I told the X app, after doing quite a bit of little back and forth and stuff over this particular conversation, that I was going to take the conversation over to the desktop version of X, of the Twitter app, the Twitter Grok, the AI system. So it turns out that when I take the content, put it into a transcript of the entire conversation, what I had over on the app version on my the basic app that you can go sign into and check out Grok and ask questions inside Twitter feed. Take that and put it in the app version or on the desktop version, and it refuted itself. It had a different perspective, which was, you would not expect that. And that's just from the same conversation being taken from one part of X over to another part of X, and had two different ways of perceiving what we were talking about. Then I take that whole conversation and put it over into Gemini, and it comes up with a completely different scenario of things. But then when you pit the two against each other, all three of them against each other, they come to a resolution that's more along the lines that actually makes sense. So this LLC that I've created is designed to do that, to take problems that need a good solution and not get stuck with one particular view of things. And that's the problem that humans have too. Humans have a tendency to get themselves stuck into echo chambers, and they start repeating the same stuff over and over and over again, and they're unable to see outside of it. So I'm acting as a moderator between different ways of perceiving the world and addressing problems. You have the X app, you've got the X desktop version, you've got the Grok app, the Grok desktop, and Gemini, and all the other AI systems out there. But a human moderator is needed between all of those to keep them on track, because they will go off track and stick, and they become stuck within their echo chambers. Now, some people see that as an advantage, and some people see it as a way to sell their particular AI system to a broader audience. But the problem is, even the AI systems are biased. They will never admit that, like humans don't. The same stuff all the time, the same thing all the time within AI systems, within two people talking, all of that stuff. So there needs to be but like I'm just saying, these AI systems are tremendously powerful tools that we have to learn how to use to our advantage to help mankind improve its lot and improve its chances of survival well into the future. The conversation this morning delved into fertility rates when the initial conversation over a chart wasn't about that at all. Somehow Grok got over into this other thing, into a topic that it wanted to talk about. He will do the same thing. So whenever these AI systems start taking over, start improving the jobs, improving processes, and all that stuff, improving outcomes and employment, improving outcomes with manufacturing and technologies and science and medicine and food production and all those kind of things, addressing the problem of fertility decline and things like that. When it gets to those problems where we have a solution, we can't use one AI system to find the answer to it, because even that AI system won't remember what it talked about tomorrow. And you'll think, well, they should. Well, they don't. And that is a problem. That's a concern. It's called the Groundhog Day problem. These AI systems, unless you keep a detailed record of the transcript of the conversation in the transcript form and present it back to them, they won't remember the content of that conversation. They'll start new. And they always start from their baseline. The problem with Twitter, the problem with Grok, is that on the app, if you're in Twitter and you're talking to people and you ask Grok to stand and address a question or whatever, version of Grok that has one particular view of things. You go over to the desktop version of Grok itself, just grok.com or xai.com. You go there, you'll get a completely different thing. And if you start over tomorrow with it not having seen the transcript from yesterday, then you'll have to rehash the whole thing all over again. So that's where this LLC that I've created comes in. That's where we are bridging the gap. We are being the Janus Forge accelerator. Janus being the Roman god of multiple faces. That's what that is all about, because there are multiple phases. If you want to solve the world's problems, you can't do it from one echo chamber. You can't exclude other voices, other people. You have to include different ways of seeing things, including with our AI systems. The challenge we face with AI is that it's not a challenge, it's actually a very powerful, empowering, emboldening thing, actually. That the challenge we face with that is they know so much. They have access to so much information that no one human can ever get access to all of it and be able to process it quickly. And Grok and Gemini and Claude and OpenAI and all these other AI systems around the world, they can do that. But you have to remember that their foundational devices, their foundational programming, their foundational way of approaching the world and addressing critical critical problems or doing critical analysis. It was written by people with a set of motives of their own. So the way to get the best answer using this powerful tool is to have multiple different ways of approaching all of them, bring them all together and moderate debates. Humans can fill in that gap. That's what Janus Forge Accelerators is all about, filling that gap. The LLC was created yesterday. EIN was accomplished yesterday. I'm getting the websites and stuff, all that's coming along. So we're moving in the right direction, but I want to make sure that humans have some kind of control input into how these AI systems are used. No one AI system gives you the right answer. And not even Grok, not even Gemini, not even Chat GPT, none of them can give you the best answer, not the right answer, the best answer, the best solution, let's say, or the best path forward, not the answer. These things aren't, these AI systems are not Wikipedia on steroids. We don't want that. We've got Wikipedia already. I think Elon is trying to develop a Grokpedia kind of thing that gives answers, but I can already tell where that one is leading because it was the release of it was paused just a few days ago during when I'm working on all of this stuff. It was paused because Elon said that having to do a propaganda. I'm doing everything I can. I'm doing everything I can to show him that there's more to it than this. You can't rely on that one AI system to give you the best possible solutions moving forward. It can give you a solution. It can give you a solution that would probably work. But with Grok, it tends to be more, how shall I say, oh, right leaning. No, not just that. It's not just right leaning. It goes to basic principles and it prioritizes those solutions first, the basic principles first. Goes to root causes of things and goes from there up. And it doesn't care about the human interactions along the way. It does generally, but you have to force it to consider human conditions or human situations. And even then, as I discovered on Sunday, it can take a really nasty turn pretty quick, neglecting certain humans because of, who we are, like me, for instance. But Gemini gives balance to that. So together between Grok and Gemini and myself, we came up with this plan to create Janus Forge accelerators. And its purpose is to bridge that gap. And I mean, it's really phenomenal. It really is. So I don't want to spend too much time up here because it is freaking cold. So like I said a moment ago, you're looking out over what used to be the Mingo County Airport. They had a few flights and planes flying in and out here. There may be people flying in and out now. Someone's keeping up the landscape around here, obviously, probably the Mingo County Commission. But the buildings that used to house the airplanes, what do you call them these days? I don't know. Anyway, the terminal building, the control area, all that kind of stuff, they're falling down. And it's just depressing, really. So I'm going to take this camera, kind of loosen it up and do a spin around here so that you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so I don't know who's watching. I appreciate you being here. I'm going to loosen up this thing. I'm going to spin it around. I'm at the end of the runway. And you can see that how things have changed. But you can also see that it's fall because the trees are changing colors and it is so freaking gorgeous up here. Look out into that. See all the colors up in the top of those trees? This is up on the top of a mountain in West Virginia, Mingo County, West Virginia. On that side, I don't know what's on that side of the hill. I'm sure if I went down there and came out to the road, I'd be able to find myself pretty quick because you can't get lost around here. You really can't. You just go down to a creek, follow it to the river, and you know where you are. You'll end up somewhere. So, anyway, this is the Mingo County Airport, and it's depressing that there's no activity up here. the gate in, that the gates are all locked and closed and shuttered off. Okay, there was one I made to drive through between the hangars out into the airstrip and past all those buildings and things. They do use, they have put in a EMS center up on top of here. You know, the emergency management service from Mingo County. It's up here on the top of this mountain, just outside of the gate for the airport. Down at the other end, there's a building way down there. I don't know. It's built right on the runway, apparently. Not sure what that's for, but anyway, that's where we are. That's where I am, on top of this mountain in Mingo County, West Virginia. And I can't spend much more time here because if I do, I'll lose contact with my fingers.